Welcome, one and everyone, to this week's episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings, episode 263, I believe it is. It's that time, ladies and gentlemen, for your cigars and your scotch, and of course your beard fix. How can you go much for longer without a beard fix? Alright, who have we got in the chat today? Lots of familiar faces. Good to see everybody. Andy the DK, pleasure to have you in the chat. Thanks again for your care package of cigars. Steph Sarch is in the chat. Hello, he says. Long time no see. Long time no see, Steph Sarch. Good to see you. Gentleman Badger, Dragon Exile, HT Star, Lepidus, Jones, and they go on and on. Shawarma, my friends, good to see you all again today. Dragon Exile says, the room looked a little brighter. Did you get a new light? No, I'm using the same light, but I changed the coloration of the room to be slightly sepia tone. It gives it more like an old-timey feel, which I think fits right in, right, with what we're trying to accomplish here. So, anyway, great to have you all here today. We've got a great show ahead of you. Lots to go over, lots of fan art to go over, new things from World of Warcraft to go over, lots of news to go over. But first and foremost, we must pour the scotch. Today I am pouring my birthday present from my family. They know me better than anyone. I mean, of course, you have to know Brandon well to understand that he likes Chivas Regal Scotch. Aged 12 years of blended Scotch whiskey, but delicious nonetheless. Fruit of the grain. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Bottoms up. Delicious. All right. Now, I've got some special cigars today, courtesy of Shawarma. So, Shawarma is Cigar Hero of the Week because he sent a very nice care package / birthday present filled with all sorts of goodies for myself, my babies, and my beautiful wife. So Shawarma, if you're there, thank you very much. I was talking with him on Twitter about everything that he included, and I have been going through them. So he gave me some of these Titan Phillies, which I've been smoking all week, and they're gone. So I liked them. Can't go wrong. And then I also got some Hillbilly cigars, I believe they were called. But I finished them as well. I forget exactly what they were called. And then he also sent me this. Check it out. The leaf wrapper is comprised of 2 different leaves woven together to produce a swirly look. It says Carolina Cigar Company Reserve. Looks delicious. I've been saving this for this week. And then Shawarma also included a note, which I think you'll all really enjoy. So here we go. From Shawarma, you all can see his artistic abilities over here in the left-hand corner, and his amazing penmanship. Dear Oxhorn, happy a birthday. Here is some more cigars for you, and a new pretty picture. Shawarma. P.S. I did like yours no book. And then down here it says, I tried to draw these one better than lazy year. So thought I'd share it with you all. A lovely little note. I'm going to be putting it on my refrigerator and cherishing it for years to come. So thank you for that, Shawarma. That is, of course, the joke note that he sends with every package. He also sent some very nice handwritten notes as well. But thank you. Shawarma really treated us. He bought my wife a t-shirt. He bought my little baby girl a cute little onesie. And then, of course, he loaded me up with all sorts of wonderful, delicious cigars. Let's crack this open. Lepidus says some words were flipped. Letters, I think. Some of those letters were indeed flipped, among other issues, but we won't go into that. We're definitely not penmanship critics here at scotchandsmokerings.com. Cigar Rock says, boo! Mine should be there soon. Well, apologies, Cigar Rocks, I didn't check my P.O. Box today. So it might already be there and I haven't checked it yet. But all that means is that I'm going to go check it out and have it in time for next week. So thank you very much. Okay. Dropping the lighter after having flipped it on is probably not fire code approved. So let's see if we can find it before we set the entire office on fire. Really? Really? Ah, for crying out loud. Ah, my fire. There it is. Wow. That bounced pretty far. Whew. Ah, bending over in a hot room. Oh, well, I've done my exercise for the day. So I'm feeling pretty accomplished. Woo-wee. So it's good, you know. They say that exercise is important. Calisthenics, you know, up and down, up and down. Get your heart pumping, the blood rushing. So yeah, I think Dr. Oz would be proud of me. And Michelle Obama as well. All right. There we go. That one was a hard one to light. Probably because the flame of my lighter was going down. I think I need to refuel it. And also because it was so long. The air had to go through so much of it to get it working. There we go. Jones says can't help but laugh, Oxhorn. But fine, laugh your merry little head off. Not that I'm hoping violence becomes you or anything. Cigar right after workout, says Jones. Classy. Why, thank you, thank you. HT Star says reminds me of a root beer candy cane. Gentleman Badger says, would you describe to us the taste of that lovely looking cigar? You know, it's hard to describe. It tastes good. It's a delicious tasting cigar. I honestly can't tell. What I really noticed that's different is that it feels like a Connecticut leaf wrapper. Now, Connecticut leaves are very distinctive. They're exceedingly soft. They feel almost like a very soft cotton or a muslin. It's a really soft feel to it. Like I feel like I could. It feels almost fuzzy. It's so soft. So that's a hallmark of a quality wrapper, and both the light areas and the dark areas feel that way. But in terms of taste, it still just tastes like a delicious cigar. I taste nothing dramatically unique, but it's good. Can't complain. Shawarma says, Michelle would not be proud of you if you used the other thing that was in the card. He is, of course, referring to a KFC gift card that he sent me. Shawarma's the man, right? He sends me cigars and chicken. I would eat chicken with my cigar if I had some right here. But both Jody and I laughed when we saw it, and we were like, all right, guess what? We're having chicken for dinner tonight. And we're looking forward to using it. So thank you very much, Shawarma. But you're right, Michelle Obama would probably have tears in her heart if she learned that I was eating fried chicken and then went to smoke a cigar. Lepidus of Rune Totem asked a very good question. Don't cigars have a slight vanilla scent? Sometimes, but only if they have a layer of vanilla sweetener pasted to the end of the wrapper. Titan Phillies, for example, have a slight sweet flavor at the tips of them. And it's okay. I prefer cigars that have no sweetness to them because I just don't like the idea of adding more flavors to a cigar. My philosophy on a cigar is that the leaves that you cure should constitute the bulk of the flavor of the cigar. That way you know that each cigar is going to have a different flavor based on the curing process, and you can control it based on how well you cure and wrap the cigar. Swabbing the end of the cigar with a sweetener, I think, is just it's a shortcut, you know. So. Steph Sarge says the cigar feels like a Muslim. No, I said muslin. Shawarma says muslin is a cloth. Yes, muslin is a cloth. I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget my audience. Just Google muslin. Ends with an N, as in naughty, and nope. Not M, as in Muslim. I don't know what Muslims feel like, alright? Sorry. I can't describe it as that. Solus Evolution says, good evening. I showed your Twitch to a few people as you're such an unusual streamer and left me mesmerized last week. I tend to have that effect. Apologies in advance. So there should be a few awesome guys coming to say hi to you, sir. Great. Well, I can't wait to meet them. I'm always happy to have new fellows here at Scotch and Smoke Rings. Slim Bean says the sight of Oxhorn bending over to search for his lighter brings joy to my heart. We all have to have something that brings us joy, and I'm glad I was able to do that for you today. So, happy to do it again. If I drop anything again. Ulfer17 says, at least your house didn't catch on fire. Yeah, the lighter dropped right into my little carpet rug that is beneath this table, so it very well could have caught on fire. But it didn't. Thank you, Zippo. Slim Bean says, Oxhorn, what's your opinion of bronies? I like bronies. I like chocolate bronies and pecan bronies. Hot fudge bronies are really great sometimes. My wife makes a lovely tray of bronies. Whenever she makes her tray of bronies, my brother will call me and say, did your wife just make some bronies? I can smell them from here. And then he'll insist that I save him some because they're just so delicious. So I'm a big fan of bronies and have nothing against them. You can put that on the record. Oxhorn likes bronies. Shawarma says, my big question is, did everything fit? And to answer your question, no, they didn't. Look, I'm flattered, right? So Shawarma sent me a t-shirt, and it was a very nice t-shirt. But apparently, I look a lot smaller on camera than I really am, because he judged my size to be a lot smaller than I actually am. So, thank you for the flattery, Shawarma. If you had been able to guess my weight exactly, I guess that probably would not have been a good thing. So apparently I look smaller on camera, and I'm okay with that. But thank you very much. Alright, we have a great show to get to today. First, let's scotch up. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. And second, I have to mention it, everybody has to mention it, but the death of Robin Williams, as I'm sure you're all tired of hearing about by now, but the death of Robin Williams hit our family hard, even though we've never met the guy. And I know that many people, when you say that you are sad that a celebrity died, they'll hop on Facebook and say something like, "You didn't even know the person, and we shouldn't all be sad just because a celebrity died," and blah, 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 blah. Well, the truth is that we do know the guy, right? We know enough about him that he wanted to share with the world. And he might not have known us, but we all knew him a little bit. And that part of him that we knew, we regret seeing go away forever. And I remember my very first exposure to Robin Williams was when I was a young kid and I saw the Popeye movie. I don't know if any of you ever saw it. My wife had never heard of it. But a movie came out in the early 90s or late 80s. It was the Popeye movie. And Robin Williams played Popeye with the big forearms and everything. And I've since looked up reviews for that movie. And it was panned by critics. Everybody hated the Popeye movie. But I loved it. Of course, I was a small child the last time I saw it. But I remember all the songs from the movie. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. As you can see, it's molded my life. Anyway, so he played a great role in that, and ever since that movie, I've loved almost everything I've seen him in, although I do believe he was a little crass. But when he was in family-friendly comedies like Mrs. Doubtfire and Aladdin, which I loved, I really appreciated him. So, great sadness to hear of his passing. My wife was really saddened by it as well. We wish the best to his family. You all know how I feel about suicide. I've already written up my feelings on that particular topic on my blog, bloggingwithclass.com, so I don't feel the need to go over it right now. Just great remorse and sadness at his loss. But we can now move on with the rest of the program. I do have Hearthstone fired up in the background in case we get to the point where we want to play it. But then again, I also have a lot of fan art from you fine fellows, and some messages left that... Ooh, what just happened? What? Ah, okay, good. Sorry about that. My chat box went wonky for just a moment there. Let's see if I can get some of your fan art onto the screen. Goliath says, Ox, greetings. Greetings, Goliath. Pleasure to see you. Ulfer17 says, wasn't Robin dubbed over in the Popeye movie? I don't think so. It sounded like him. I am what I am. It sounded like his voice when he did it. Alright, ooh, and I'm dumping ash everywhere. This is Fate's way of saying, get a hold of yourself, Oxhorn. You're a professional here. We got things to do. Alright, I'm listening. Okay, so first and foremost, news, big news, and I know this thanks to all of you. You've been posting on our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/Oxhorn. Open to everyone. It's a public group for World of Warcraft lovers, Scotch lovers, cigar lovers, and of course Oxhorn lovers. Should have rephrased that. My apologies. But basically, the new Warlords of Draenor, they released a 5-minute cinematic for the upcoming expansion, and I was stunned the entire time. And I don't normally say this. I watched the Mists of Pandaria cinematic when it came out, and I was like, eh. And then I watched the Cataclysm cinematic when it came out, and I was like, eh. But I watched the Warlords of Draenor cinematic, and I'm like, whoa, it looks pretty cool. Basically, for those who don't know, and I don't want to spoil the entire thing, but the Warlords of Draenor cinematic is up on the Scotch and Smoke Rooms group. You can watch the trailer. Don't watch it right now. Watch it afterwards, after the show. But basically, I guess the premise, and many of you can correct me if I'm wrong, the premise is that what if a defining moment in the World of Warcraft lore happened in a different way? What if we could change the future by altering a moment in the past? It's basically the plot of the latest X-Men movie. But if you watch, I won't spoil it for you, but watch the cinematic and you'll see what that moment in World of Warcraft history was that changed. And it brings up some interesting questions. What would the world have been like had that moment gone differently? So, fascinating concept. It honestly injects some new life into the franchise, in my opinion. It makes me much more interested in the World of Warcraft universe. So kudos to Blizzard. Mystifies me. Alright, fan art. Okay, here we go. First up, this was submitted by Shauna, and for those who don't know, she's got a brand new job, and she was sharing some of this. She says, for those who have seen my other pics on the poutine menu where I work, I show you the bacon poutine. Loaded the top of the poutine with just pure bacon. Not bits, either real bacon. I love my job. So for those who don't know and are not Canadian, poutine is a French fried dish that's covered in like cheese and bacon and stuff. And this is the one she made. Look at that. It's like hunks of bacon poured on top of French fries and cheese. I can hear Michelle Obama screaming in the background. I'm filled with glee. I'm giddy. Thank you for that one, Patrick. Then there's this. The trolls. So this is what the trolls will look like in the new expansion when they completely redo their looks. Can I hover over here and... No, it doesn't pop up. So can't show you the pop-up, but the new skins for the trolls have been released. So this is the before. This is after. As you can see, an enormous amount of new detail. What do you think? Does it look fascinating? These are the female trolls. And then here are the male trolls. Before and after, a very familiar face. And it still looks... One thing I really like about the new skins is that Blizzard made sure to stay true to the brand. They didn't just re-envision the way that the artwork worked. They kept it true to the brand, and I really appreciated that. The new models look great for the trolls. They look exactly like trolls. So I have a feeling that this transition is going to be fairly smooth for World of Warcraft players. Once you get Warlords of Draenor and start playing the characters, the fascination will be there for the first few days, and then it'll wear off. And you'll just feel, oh yeah, this is of course how the characters have always looked. And then when you see screenshots of the old characters, you're like, wow, looks like a 16-bit movie. Or a 16-bit video game. So thank you for sharing. Looks fascinating. Pat Tequita decided to do a photo bump and share with us all of his wonderful beard-related and bacon-related photos. So here's one, and any man can start a beard, but a real man never finishes one. True. There is nothing sexier than a man who can grow a forest on his face. I like how this guy's a logger, surrounded by logs. Then there's this, which is a classy cat and a pipe and a monocle and a hat. I say, says the classy shark. And those are all of the photos that he decided to share with us. So thank you for that one, Pat. Robert has got some potato bacon bombs. So potatoes wrapped in bacon and then grilled to perfection. Sounds delicious. And then here is the World of Warcraft cinematic. I'm not going to play it on the show just because it's going to tear up all my bandwidth. But it looks doggone amazing. So thank you for sharing the cinematic. I'm excited. Oh, okay. I need to get to my recording software. So hold on one moment. Just enjoy the class, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when an Oxhorn is not prepared. Okay. We've got some messages, so for those who don't know, I do take your calls here at scotchandsmokerings.com. You're welcome to call in and leave us with your thoughts. We have a number of fine friends on the program today. If you want to leave a message with Scotch and Smoke Rings, go to scotchandsmokerings.com. You're going to find a little button floating in the left-hand side of the page that says leave a message or send us a voice message. You can click on that and leave a message. First up, we have a message from Ghoulbreath. Ghoulbreath, what is on your mind?
Hey Ox, I hope you really enjoyed the video I made. I may or may not make more. My question is, on a scale of 1 to classy, what would you rate the egg Maduro?
Great question. So he's referring to a video that he created for my birthday, which I really appreciated, where he showed us what Google's auto translate feature thinks the lyrics or the words to my movie meant. And it was pretty funny. It was basically ridiculous captions. So thank you, Google and Internet, for being ridiculous. But yes, I love the video. Thank you very much. In terms of the egg Maduro on a scale from 0 to classy, I'd probably call it slightly underclassy. It's classy, but it's not full-on golden classy. And the only reason I say that is because it's artificial. Now, I love the egg Maduro. For those of you who watch the program, you know that one of my favorite cigars is the egg Maduro by Gray Estate. It comes like this, but there's a huge bulge in the middle, which makes it look like a real extreme hand-wrapped cigar. And it is really good. But it's also kind of fake, because what they do is they just take a bunch of tobacco shredding and they mold it together with a glue that you can burn, and it doesn't harm you. And then they wrap that in a leaf. So it's not like hand rolling a cigar. They use a bunch of clippings for that. It's still delicious. Like I've said on many times, it tastes like biscuit dough, which is an interesting thing to taste when smoking a cigar, but it's not disagreeable. So I encourage you to check it out. But thank you for that question. Jones says that I forgot his fan art. I apologize, Jones. I'm going to go ahead and go through the rest of these messages, and then I'll click on that to... Here, I'll just open it up right now. Oh, I didn't even see that. All right. I'll be sure to show that off here in just a moment, my friend. Next on the line is ThunderGod91. ThunderGod91, what have you to share with us today?
Okay, Brandon. I have just concluded on an epiphany that in your world, hat was already in your world. And then you made into the tin, where the 3 other scrubs follow thereafter. So you mean to tell me, somehow, hat had already gone through the tin into the real world and has been off the map ever since? And if so, there's a little story waiting to be told out, if you will, by said, I don't know, Greg Hartung fan or whatever. So yeah, just another idea.
That's a great comment. So he's referring to Into the Tin, where at the end of that movie, something happens, and our main heroes get thrust into an alternate reality. And that alternate reality, of course, is this reality, wherein which I've already got a turtle named Hat the Singing Turtle. So if there's a Hat the Singing Turtle in the World of Warcraft world, Oxhorn universe, and there's a Hat the Singing Turtle in this reality, what would happen if Hat the Singing Turtle went through the portal and entered this reality? Would there be a continuity error? Would the stars collide? Would it be like dividing 0 by 0? I don't know. Now, it's quite possible that, like the X-Men, who came up with a convenient plot device, and like Warlords of Draenor, which is coming up with a convenient plot device, I could too come up with a convenient plot device, wherein which there are alternate timelines based on a single decision. Possibly that Hat the Singing Turtle could have gone through the portal at some time in the past and never gone back to the world in some other timeline. Or maybe it's possible that he has a TARDIS, and he's really the turtle version of Doctor Who can manipulate space and time from his flying phone box and appear in multiple dimensions at once. These are great philosophical questions that we should dig into at a later date. But thank you for that one, ThunderGod91. A lot to think about there. Next up is Andy the DK. You are on Scotch and Smoke Rings. How can I help you today?
Greetings, Sir Oxhorn. It is the one and only Andy the DK. How are you doing tonight, fine sir?
Very well, thank you.
I have a quick question to ask you, Ox. I am looking to get into the whole live streaming business and doing my own thing with gaming and stuff like that. I just wanted to know how you, what programs do you use for streaming? The quality looks great with your new internet, so I just wanted to know what programs do you use to stream, and like what kind of PC setup are you on, and all that kind of stuff. So if you could fill me in, I'd greatly appreciate it, sir. Hope you enjoy the other cigar, and as always, stay classy.
Well, thank you, sir. To answer your questions, I can share a little bit about what I do, but I'm probably not the best person to ask. As you might have known, this is a fairly amateur setup that I've got going on here. There are many others who have much more professional setups. I would ask Clint Hackelman of Mind Flame fame. He's the guy who made the illegal Danish movies. He's got an excellent setup for his Twitch broadcasts. He's probably the best one to ask. Not to axe. To ask. Man, I'm ashamed of myself for a brief moment there. Anyway, but I can share with you what I do. So I use a Blue microphone. It's called Blue Snowball. It's not the best mic out there in the world, but it works for live streaming. It plugs right into your USB port on your computer. Easy peasy. If you want some more high quality streaming at an affordable price, I'd get a Shure Beta 58A and then a mobile preamp. You plug the microphone into the mobile preamp. The mobile preamp plugs into the USB port of your computer, and you can get higher quality audio. In terms of a camera, I use the highest rated HD camera by Microsoft on Amazon. I forget the name of it, but it's the Microsoft Life Cam is what it's called. And it's just a little webcam. I don't have an expensive camera. It was like $50 to $60. It's not a lot of money. But it's been doing fairly well so far, as you can see. In terms of software, I use a software called XSplit to stream my broadcast. And the way it works is you create your Twitch TV account, you then fire up XSplit, and you log into your Twitch TV account from XSplit, and then XSplit streams to Twitch, which streams to you. So, yeah, that's what I do, and it takes a little bit of time to set it all up, but it's a worthy process. Next up is, and I encourage you to continue with your efforts, and I wish you all the best of luck in your broadcasting. Next up is Doomageddon. Doomageddon, my friend, what is on your mind?
Hey, Oxhorn. Just saw the cinematic today, and I was really impressed that I wanted to join the Iron Horde. It would give you the opportunity to be able to fight alongside the Warsong clan. Let me ask you a question here.
Go for it.
If Grom Hellscream and Garrosh Hellscream were to face off in a gladiator tournament, who would win? Thank you.
Great question. I too was impressed by the cinematic, and it's getting me excited for the latest expansion of World of Warcraft. The question you ask, whether Grom or Garrosh in a duel, who would win? That's a rough question, mainly because I only got to see Garrosh Hellscream in Warcraft, or Grom Hellscream in Warcraft 3, I believe, or was it Warcraft 2? So I don't know his abilities in a World of Warcraft context. Now, Garrosh Hellscream, however, as an epic boss, definitely is well known for his fighting abilities. So it would be hard to say. I'd probably have to vote on Garrosh Hellscream, just because we know him. Our next up is Captain Maximilian Valentine, Captain of the Sky, which I believe is a Robotech reference. Am I right? Wasn't that the Zentradi that was miniaturized to... Anyway, sorry, talking about my geekiness there. What's on the mind?
Idea for WoW. Take the gear slots for Lord of the Rings Online, like a slot for chest and boots and gloves and hair and such, and add more slots for cosmetic gear, like the Firefest dress and helm and such, to cover up existing PvE or PvE gear. That way you keep the specs of the PvE or PvP gear, but have the look of the cosmetic special area events like the Firefest and Moonglade event and so on and so forth. Brainstorm idea.
Great idea. So, if I follow you correctly, you're basically talking about transmogs. If I were to be able to take the current outfit that Oxhorn is wearing, the Moonglade Lunar Festival outfit, and insert the same slots into it that are found in either another game. Did you talk about Lord of the Rings Online? Or or if they had the abilities of existing World of Warcraft armor, would I do it? Yeah, of course. I'd love Oxhorn to be able to maintain his look and feel while still wearing the appropriate epic armor. So that's definitely something I would consider. Thank you for that. Next up, I want to show off this piece of fan art by Jones. He says, when you're having fun with Photoshop, you apparently Photoshop a fire-breathing kitty head onto a dragon. And not just any dragon, but Darkwing. I like it. Looking good, my friend. Thank you for that submission. As always, we love having your fan art submissions and your comments. You can go to scotchandsmokerings.com to check those out. Alright, let me alter my chats. Gentleman Badger says at BlizzCon, they said some of the Iron Horde may join the Horde at the end of the expansion, which means we may finally play as brown orcs, says Greg McLevin Harpton. That would be pretty cool. The brown orcs in the cinematic looked amazing. Okay, Slim Bean and Steph Sarch are colluding against me. And Cigar Ox. Alright. You guys are wanting smoke rings. I can help you with smoke rings. Let's try this.
Streaming the sounds of the 1920s and 1930s around the world 24 hours a day. This is Radio Dismute. RadioDismute.com. HappyMusicRadio.com.
Gavin, what you doing? My baby boy is banging on the glass. He wants in here so bad. Imagine Justin says, I think your drink is getting lonely as well, Oxhorn. I'm so glad you guys are here to keep me honest with my drinking and my smoking. I'd hate to neglect them on my own. So, you guys have my back to make sure I drink and smoke enough on camera. What would I do without you? Sweezy says, hey Oxhorn, me and my buddy were from Sweden, and since we are such big fans of yours, we have stayed up until 4 a.m. just to catch your show. Stay classy. Well, stay classy to both you and your friend, Sweezy. I know that staying up really early is pretty rough, especially if you have to work or go to school in the morning. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the program. Man, my Swedish is getting really bad. Tack så mycket. Varsågod. Wow. Man, my Swedish is going from embarrassing to even more embarrassing. I had to bring it back to life, ladies and gentlemen. As delicious as this cigar is, it seems to be a little bit on the wet side because it keeps wanting to go out. There you go, that was a perfect one. Nicer says, oh my days, it's Oxhorn. Well, Nicer, pleasure to have you here at the show. We do this show every week, so if you want to join us, feel free to become a regular member here at scotchandsmokerings.com. Whoa. There it is. What? Wait a minute. What? Metzen's comment was aimed at me? What are you guys talking about? The age of panda is over. I'm confused. Did something happen that I don't know about yet that is somehow destroying all of the pandas in the world? Because if that's the case, I'm a happy camper. That might be enough for me to play again. Who knows? Shiut says he said the age of the panda was over. Cool. But what does that mean? Steph Sarge says, Oxhorn, I haven't been here in a few months. What happened with the war? What has happened to the war with hippie neighbor Tom? Not much, although I can tell you that as of late, apparently Tom's... Sorry, I should talk low because Tom's right next door. Apparently Tom's idea of a lovely summer afternoon is to take his shirt off, stand in his backyard, which is right next to ours, with a skill saw and saw lumber. Normally a fairly lumberjack-ish masculine thing to do, but when you're a skinny hippie like Tom, slightly... And he does it late into the night. Last night, it was 10 at night, and he is sitting there using a very loud electric saw to chop up lumber. I didn't confront him on it. I didn't want to cause any hostilities. Shawarma says Chris Metzen made a comment in the announcement of Warlords of Draenor that had a cuddly pandas are done. So some such, I forget the exact adjective. Imagine Justin says, wait a minute, hippies love trees. How come he is cutting wood? I know, right? I don't get it. How is it okay for him to dice up lumber as the fibrous souls of those trees scream in agony, and yet he gets on my case when I accidentally kill grass? There's a slight the logic isn't connecting there somehow. I'm going to have to call him out on that, I think, next time I see him. So, how was your massacre of trees last night? I heard them screaming from my bedroom window. I'd love to see his face on that one. William Moore. I love this, by the way. Here we go. William Moore says, you know, Oxhorn, there's a famous quote from one Sir Winston Churchill, a high-ranking member of the British Army, once told the good sir, I never drink nor smoke, and I am 100% fit. To which Churchill retorted, well, I both drink and smoke, and I'm 200% fit. That's true. Churchill was known for his wit. His snappy wit. He's the guy who, when let me see if I can retell the story. He was in Parliament, and one of his enemies, it was a woman. She came up to him and she said, "Sir, you are a drunkard." And he says, "I may be a drunkard, but you're ugly, and in the morning I'll be sober." I'm sitting there going, "That's Winston Churchill. Way to go, my friend. Way to go." Come on, cigar. I'm gonna have to jumpstart it again with huffs and puffs. This is what I get for talking too much. HT Star says, I'm still confused as to why the Dark Portal started as a swamp area, then a big hole dead area. Well, it might have to do with like the demons coming in and out of the Dark Portal. Maybe something about them being there cursed the land and killed it. I don't know. I'm just riffing here. I'm not World of Warcraft, so I don't know. Slim Bean says, Ox, I love the lighting in the episode. Don't change it, please. I won't. I do think it adds a certain panache to the episode, so I'll be sure to keep it there. Solus Evolution says, another quote from Winston Churchill. My most brilliant achievement was my ability to be able to persuade my wife to marry me. Indeed. How is that not a classy response? Way to go, Mr. Churchill. Way to go. See, that's a man who loves his wife and brags about his wife years into his career. What is he talking about? Is he talking about how he helped defeat the Nazis? No. He's talking about how awesome his wife is and how his greatest achievement was marrying her. Right? Now that's a classy chap right there. Andy the DK says, Ox, I have a beard-related question. My beard is growing quite nicely, but there's a little spot under my chin that won't grow. Is there any way to fix this minor problem? Yes, in fact, there's an article I wrote about it. If you just go to Google and type in how to fix a patchy beard, my article is is one of the very first results. It's at growbeardnow.com. And basically, I've got links in that article to the tools you need to do it, but basically what you need to do is you need to get a minoxidil cream. This could be Lipogain, this could be Rogaine, it could be a Kirkland minoxidil treatment. And what's happened is you do have follicles there, but for some reason, either the blood flow isn't connecting to them properly, or your genetics are just inhibiting those follicles from sprouting. And what you need to do is you need to apply the minoxidil treatment, which will open up the capillaries that lead to the follicle, feeding those hair follicles with the nutrients they need to sprout. The drawback to using a minoxidil treatment is that if you ever stop using it, eventually they'll get choked out again, they'll die and fall out. So it is something you have to keep up with, but it will work. And it doesn't harm any of the rest of your gloriously growing beard. So that's what I recommend to the viewers of my website, growbeardnow.com. Alright, looks like today is the Churchill quote day. William Moore says, the perfect martini is pouring a cold glass of vermouth and looking at a bottle of gin, says Sir Winston Churchill. I guess I don't know enough about classy beverages then. And Solus Evolution says, Churchill, you have enemies? Good, that means you've stood up for something in your life. And this is true. The best way to never have any enemies is to never do anything of any meaning or importance in your life. And even then, you can still develop enemies on Facebook just by saying something. One thing I've learned is anything you type on Facebook, you'll have 50% of your supporters who say nothing, and the other 50% who will hate you for it, and that will fill your comments. As I'm sure many of us who are on Facebook readily understand. Franklin Rings says, The Tale of Chlorine Hastings is what his book is called. It's very good. Why, thank you. I appreciate your endorsement. Sorry. And I saw something slightly disturbing. Shawarma. Anyway, these are my two books. The Tale of Chlorine Hastings, a swashbuckling, epic sea adventure fantasy novel. And it's pretty thick. You will get your money's worth. And the next is my short book of short stories and poems and one small novel, Era 1, also a good size. You'll get your money's worth. ChloroneHastings.com or Era1book.com. All right, Greg McLovin Hartung is asking me to play Hearthstone before the show ends. And I'll try. Let me fire it up here. Here's another one by Sir Winston Churchill, thanks to Solus Evolution. If you're going through hell, keep going. That's a good one. On my blog, bloggingwithclass.com, I started collecting all my favorite quotes. And then I stopped because I ran out of energy to keep it up. But at the time, I had accrued like 50 or 60 quotes from Machiavelli's The Prince, which it has a bad reputation, but I actually really enjoyed that book. I thought it was filled with very practical advice. Black Shawarma says it's a Churchill quote. He said it at the White House. I'm sure he did. I'll share my screen with you all in a moment once I get this game up and running. Once I actually get into a battle, let's see how this... After all this time, this is the one thing Blizzard could have fixed. You were waiting for him to select a deck. Come on. Select a deck. Here we go. I think it actually worked. All right, let me try and share my screen with you. Yay! We got into a battle. All right, let's go through this. Solus Evolution says, catch you next week, sir. Catch you next week. Pleasure to have seen you on the program today. Franklin Ring says, I'm very curious to read Era 1, though. How many short stories are in it? Let's see. Let me choose my deck. Confirm. All right, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 short stories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 poems, and one 40-page novel. So you do get your money's worth with that book as well. Who am I fighting today? Andy is Diablo. All right, sir. Let's do this. It's my turn. Okay. Steph Sarge says, do you manage to read every chat message? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I read as many as I possibly can, and then I respond to those that I can, but I don't get to read all of them. Alright, Black Shawarma is telling the story. Winston Churchill was at a dinner where they were serving chicken. Someone was there, I forget who, and Churchill said, Madame, that's a lovely breast you have there. The lady corrected him, Mr. Churchill, here in America we call the leg and thigh dark meat, and the breast and wing is white meat. To which he replied, my apologies, madam, your white meat is lovely. Ah, really? Ah. Winston Churchill, up thy class factor. Ah, man. That's not classy for this program. Shawarma, you tricked me. I started to burn the band, you see? Greg XL says, hey Oxhorn, brainstorm idea. Do you think you could sum up the Tale of Warren Hastings into a 10 to 15 page graphic novel to hit the K through 3rd grade students of today's children? Sadly, no. I don't think I could condense it to just 10 to 15 pages. Although I do think it would make an excellent graphic novel. Alright, let me see here. What can I do? There we go.
Job's done. Follow the rules. Reporting for duty.
Okay.
What to do? I wonder.
Okay, there we go. Alright, take that, my friend, take that. My cigar is starting to burn a little raggedly. Let's fix this up a little bit. There we go. Oh, goodness. Dragon XL asks, I hate to be a whiner, but I must ask out of curiosity. Ox, why not show the fan art of the fantasy beards? I must not have seen it, because had I seen it, I would have shown it, so I apologize if that's the case. Making progress.
Engaging TC-130 into dislocator.
Oh no! Uh-oh. 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 Sludge Belcher. Death Rattle. Summon a 1/2 slime with taunt. Close game. Let's see who wins this. Uh-oh. Gosh, you had 2 of those? Oh, lame. Holy cow. He's tearing me up. Oh man, I'm done. What? Come on. Adding insult to injury. Alright. One more game if I can get into it, and then we'll end the program. Greg Hartung. All right, let's do this.
Begin for Doomhammer.
Slim Bean asks, Oxhorn, do you like parsnips? Yeah, they're okay. I can't say that I would flavor my gum parsnip flavored, or smoke a tobacco that's parsnip flavored, but if forced to eat as parsnip, I'd eat one with glee.
You shall not pass.
Okay, McLovin. Do your worst. Good game, Andy. Good game.
To my side.
Okay, let's see what happens. Aren't you the rough customer?
shall not see them.
Shawarma says, new info. Warlords of Draenor CE and DD enables special Hearthstone card backs. If you get the Deluxe Digital or the Collector's Edition, the code will enable a special Warlords of Draenor card back on the Hearthstone cards. Hey, that's cool.
The gates are open. Your turn.
I see that you are weighing your options.
What to do? Tastingo! Yeah. Your turn.
Put that in your proverbial pipe and smoke it. Ah, nicely done. Rattle summon 2 hyenas.
Behold the might of Scotch! Your turn. My apologies.
Uh-oh. Ah, rubbish. Oh, rubbish. Nicely played, Mr. Hardtongue. Nicely played. The eternal defeat. No luck this week. And no King Crush. Gotta hand it to you. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time to end the program. But first, we blow smoke ships of your discretion. What is on your mind? I will create with the smoke from my mouth the finest smoke ship you have ever seen, based upon your instructions. You are the engineers, and I am the blacksmith. Or the smokesmith. Steph Sarge says, Ox, did you eat Kevin Bacon? Kevin Bacon is hanging by his feet. Somewhere in this world. Maybe you can see him. William Moore says, Oxhorn, Staghorn, and Mortus riding classy sharks in a sea of Scotch, swimming around dodging killer seaweed and underwater volcanoes, while battling evil armies of man-eating giant squid and robot zombie octopi, as they fight their way through the underwater city of Atlantis to protect the Red Snappa citizens and free them from the tyrannical rule of Cthulhu. Epic as always, my friend. Epic as always. Imagine Justin says Oxhorn, Staghorn, Staghorn and Mortus in classy coats, tipping their hats, telling everyone to stay classy. As they often do. As they often do. My cigar's getting a little low, and I don't want to burn my fingers, so let's see if this works. There we go. Dragon XL is a can of Mountain Dew piping hot chili with salt crackers. And now you have made me hungry. Isn't it Shawarma's role to make me hungry at the end of every episode? Jeff Sarge says Oxhorn, Staghorn, and Mortus, and the whole family on a Titanic ship without the crashing, enjoying a nice cruise with several antics from the dead cowbies. Not very good, but I'm out of shape. Nicely done. Black Shawarma says a bucket of KFC original with a large side of mashed potatoes and gravy, biscuits and sweet corn on a nice red and white picnic blanket on a hillside overlooking the shore with a nice shade tree above with a wonderful pitcher of lemonade. And there we have it. I am now officially hungry. Thank you, sir, yet again. Ghoulbreath says Ox battling demons with his dual-wielding bacon swords as Mort and Stag reinforce the gnome and elf cannons, firing into hordes of hippie elf demons from the safety of their Scotch sailing bacon battleship. I would have a battleship made from bacon that sails the Sea of Scotch. Shiut says Oxhorn fighting Iron Horde with the Alliance and Horde, one-winning drama shell screen, still bloodied with Manaroth's blood, using a spear made of class and bacon, using smoke blasts as spells again. Nicely done. Slim Bean says Oxhorn with Winston Churchill piloting giant submarines, powered by cigars and scotch while eating chicken breast and bacon. Again, I'm hungry. Captain Maximov says Oxhorn in a sophisticated brawl with neighbor Tom, offering him the first punch as they are sailing on his new schooner. Tom, being so thin and frail, barely touches Ox. Then Ox lets out a mighty laugh and thundering Viking-like sounds, pushing the thin, frail, meatless Tom overboard. That is, I have to admit, one of my fantasies. Alright, since the cigar hero of the episode is Shawarma for his wonderful gift of cigars, we're going to give it to him. Black Shawarma! This one's for you. Here we go. Smoke chip time. Briefly before your eyes, but there in all of its ethereal glory, we had a bucket of KFC original with a large side of mashed potatoes and gravy, biscuits and sweet corn on a nice red and white picnic blanket on a hillside overlooking the shore with a nice shade tree above with wonderful pitcher of lemonade on a boat to make it a smoked boat. Thank you there, Mr. Shawarma. Thank you, sir. And he also adds a chocolate Boston cream pie with a side of Neapolitan ice cream. Oh my goodness. This is a strategy for my dinner. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to this week's episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings, episode 263, I do believe it is. Be sure to tune in next week, same Ox time, same Ox channel, for the next episode of this fine program. Thanks for coming, and be sure, as always, my friends, that you stay ever so classy.